Reasons. The Hunger Games is actually about China. Author Susan Collins has pretty well spelled out that Panem, the fictional setting of her Hunger Games novels turned blockbusters, is a post-apocalyptic North America. And while penning the stories might make her an authority on these matters, a little between the lines reading makes it shockingly clear that whatever her intentions, she actually wrote a brilliantly acute critique of modern China. With a startling amount of nuance and specificity, Panem and the Hunger Games trilogy correlate with China so perfectly, it's hard to believe she didn't write it that way intentionally. So read on and reread or watch the movies and see how one of Harry Potter's leading literary rivals turns out to be a poorly camouflaged Chinese doppelganger. 5. The One-Child Policy. From 1979 to 2016, the policy will officially end next year. The Chinese government attempted to control the growth of its billions-strong population through a rule that mandated that couples, with some exceptions, could only have one child. In a society that values males significantly over females, having a baby girl was no longer a simple matter of rigging up the stirrups and trying again. Instead, decades of forced abortions, infanticide, and sex trafficking created a disproportionately male and sad, lonely, and spoiled population that eventually forced the government to reverse course and allow couples multiple children. So either families aborted or otherwise disposed of infant girls in order to use their one-child quota to have male offspring, or government officials on the watch for a baby bump would compel them to make do with their firstborn, female or otherwise. While this could hardly condition a society to enthusiastically cheer for the violent deaths of their teenagers in a nationally broadcast bloodbath, it is certainly closer in context to the operation and results of the Hunger Games. It also better explains why, on the eve of the 75th Hunger Games, Pta's last-ditch effort to save Katniss by claiming she is pregnant ignites some mild outrage, but ultimately doesn't get her a pass. Neither the novels nor the films even suggests that a basic pregnancy test was administered before Katniss got shunted back into the arena. 4. Taiwan is District 13. Over the course of the series, District 13 goes from a haunting reminder of the power of the capital, to a rumor, to a living, thriving district and major player in the revolution, whose own leadership attempts to overthrow the capital and retake Panem at large from the ruling regime. Funny story, that is exactly what Taiwan's government originally planned on doing. During World War II, rival factions in China united to drive out the occupying Japanese. When they succeeded, they resumed their conflict in earnest, with Mao's communist forces eventually defeating Chiang Kai-shek's nationalists, who in turn fled to Taiwan and set up in their view a government in exile. Both the mainland communists and Taiwanese nationalists saw themselves as the legitimate and rightful government of all of China. America, ever fearful of the dirty red camise, threw its support behind Taiwan with heaps of military hardware and the tacit assurance that, if mainland China initiated conflict, the US would have Taiwan's back with extreme prejudice. Over time, of course, the impracticality of Taiwan's political ambitions killed their plans, and they focused more on domestic development on the island than retaking the homeland. Add in America's diplomatic switcheroo in 1979, in which the mainland government, rather than Taiwan, was viewed as the legitimate Chinese authority, and you get the current state of affairs. A tenuous, semi-official agree to disagree one China policy, governed by two systems: communism on the mainland, and democracy on Taiwan. Just as the capital and District 13 agreed not to destroy each other entirely, allowing
Subscribe now.